Continuing our look now at the best in children's television. This morning, the new kid, or dinosaur on the block.
So the big purple reptile that kids can't resist.
The big purple dinosaur.
Teaches about love, and it just kind of like soothes the kids.
And always, there's that signature song.
Welcome to Purple Tales Podcast. This is, I'm going to say, the room that Barney built. Because of you, we are able to continually having these wonderful, wonderful episodes. And of course, we want to thank the people here at Real News PR as well, because this is their studio. But they've made it purple for us. And of course, I'm Nancy J. And of course, we've got Kerry Stinson here who loves purple.
I do. And we love being here. We love being in this big purple studio.
So, Was purple a favorite color of yours at any time in your life before, Barney?
It was, and it's become a huge joke because I guess we go to high school. I was a big Prince fan. I was also a huge Minnesota, and am still to today, a big Minnesota Viking fan. So everyone thinks it was kind of destiny that I became Barney because purple's been my color for my whole life.
I love that.
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yep.
See the things that we learn on Purple Tales podcast, and I know we're going to be learning a lot more today. And as the weeks go by,
and I'm learning a lot. You know, it's thank goodness for our PTP fans because they're helping bring back my memories. Timothy found a picture.
This is one of our fans.
Our fans. I was an extra in an episode, actually playing the accordion. I think we have it up here.
Oh my God! Out of the suit.
Beforehand. So if in the park, this was the piano episode, and in the very beginning, you see me playing the accordion. And by the way, I cannot play the accordion. I'm acting is what you're seeing here. But yeah, before I became the big purple dinosaur in that episode.
Oh, and looking at the picture, I mean, you're just in a park. I see a water fountain, and there's a kid, and of course, there's a child right there with his mom.
Yes.
And so, what were you playing? Do you remember the song?
I have no idea.
Isn't that funny? You don't remember anything outside of the suit.
That's right.
I love
but the fans do, and so thank you for that, Timothy. Thank you for that.
That's so cute.
It brings back great memories. I love that.
Look at that hair of yours, and you got shorts. You look good.
Thank you.
Look good. Look good.
Thank you,
Kerry. Okay.
I don't have the shorts anymore, though.
No. But I bet you could still. I mean, I guess you had to wear shorts when you're wearing the suit.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually wore winter silks.
Oh, that's right. We've talked about those winter silks.
Because of the sweat and all that good stuff.
Oh my goodness! And that's a great note from a fan. And
yes, and I got another great one from Haley Hoops, who wanted to know about an episode that we had a child in, who sign language was involved. She had a hearing impairment. And we were doing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and she wanted to know how we learned that. We had education department on Barney that would help us with issues of that nature, and so our choreographer, and we would learn, and they would bring someone in, whoever the actor would be, whether it was David Joyner or myself, to learn things like this. And so it was wonderful that they really were looking. We talk about we loved all children, and so those different things that we would tackle.
So you learned American Sign Language for that episode.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Absolutely. So thank you, Haley. That's a great question.
Was it tough to learn, or would you just?
I think we had to obviously simplify it because I had a thumb and a big.
I didn't even think about that.
2 little arms and I don't have 5 fingers. Oh, I have 5 fingers, but Barney doesn't have 5 fingers.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I did a lot of special events. I did sing-alongs across this country. A lot of times they would have someone come in and do sign language on those. I remember that a lot, and I thought that was just such a beautiful, that everyone could enjoy the show.
You know what I love about the whole ASL, American Sign Language movement, is colleges now are making that you can major in ASL. That can be your language if you have to have an elective foreign language, which I think is absolutely wonderful.
It's just beautiful.
And it's beautiful. And speaking of education, you know what was fun? I'll tell you what, Kerry, these last couple of shows, we had Anne Marie, who was one of the teachers, and of course we had Fred, who was the director, Fred Holmes, for so many episodes.
Yes.
And they all talk about how wonderful the children were. Mm-hmm. And I love that because, yes, it was Barney's show, but it seems like we get so many comments about where's so-and-so, what's happening to this kid or that kid. And it's really neat to see that what they're saying about the kids. We've got a kid on Broadway in Hamilton. Of course, The Lion King, directors, writers, singers, girl in Nashville is just making her impact who's on Barney. It's really, really exciting.
Well, it was Barney and Friends, and everyone loves the Friends, and it's been really, really great.
And of course, those friends were the children,
Yes.
and I think probably to just all of them, this was their really first acting gig.
Most of them.
Okay.
A few of them had
some experience a little bit.
Yeah.
But I found this study, and I thought about this because if you're growing up as a child actor, it might change your brain because there was a study that says actors actually show different brain activity when they're in character, and that would be you too. So maybe your brain changed when you were in your suit.
Well, yeah, I would think it did.
A little bit.
From my day to day to being a purple dinosaur, yeah, there's a little different thing going on there.
Yeah, they say that there's actually different patterns of brain activity depending on whether you're in character or not. So I guess when you were Barney, you had so many other things to think about you couldn't think about Kerry.
Sure. Well, you don't. There's a responsibility, as we talk about a lot, and you become that character 100%. That's all. I mean, you're obviously thinking about safety and all those other aspects of it, but you really become that character.
So then, of course, with every study, there's going to be someone who says that's BS.
Oh, sure,
right?
of course.
So there was a professor out of Liverpool, University of Liverpool, unimpressed by this research. He says acting is about far more than just improvisation and character or pretending to be someone. It involves embodying the text and the language, which I think you can relate to because you had all of these different things happening to you at the same time.
Sure.
And you were imagining this, but you had an internal language.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've especially in my case, because you've got someone else doing the voice. Most actors use their own voice. I've got someone else speaking for me. And then a big purple dinosaur that doesn't exist. So you're really out there.
Well, obviously, Barney and Friends, the Friends, all have gone on to do some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things. Whether they're parents, which I know probably freaks you out that these kids now are parents themselves.
They've become. I keep in touch, and Fred mentioned he keeps in touch. I keep in touch too with a lot of the kids, and so I'm just so proud of them all. So it does not bother me that we've all aged. It's part of life.
Okay,
but what they become is what's important.
But I love having the kids on the show.
Well, it's so exciting, Nancy. Each week I'm introducing you to all these people that you don't know and all of this, and today we've got someone very special. Well, every week they're very special, but this is one. We've had some of the kids on beforehand, Pia Hamilton, and we had Ricky Carter on. Those were kids from the episodes that I was not involved in. We've got one today that I was involved in. So this is the first kid that we've had that worked with me on Barney and Friends, and this is Hayden Tweedie.
Welcome, Hayden, to the show. And you're in Los Angeles, right?
I am. Yes, I am. I'm so happy to be here. I just feel so special. This is amazing.
And so you are one of the kids who is continued acting from Barney, correct?
Yes, I have. Yeah. So I moved to LA about 6 years ago, and I'm pursuing acting still. I kind of went into the horror genre a little bit. So I have some, I went from like Barney, like opposite ends of the spectrum, like Barney to like horror. So, and then, yeah, I'm out here and still pursuing acting.
And hello, Hayden. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so good.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
And see you again. I mean, we haven't talked in so long. It's
I know.
Crazy.
I know. But I have kept up with you and seen what you're doing, and I miss you, and I'm so excited for you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm following your photography, and I just think that's amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Love Fest. Here we are.
And here's the cool thing about Hayden. Hayden's one of the kids that has a uniqueness in the fact that she actually went on tour also. So she did the TV show, but she also, not many of the kids did both, the TV and the tour, but Hayden is one that did.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I felt it was so sad that, the end, it was really like the end of an era. It was really sad to leave the show. But then when I was offered to do the tour, I mean, zero hesitation. I was like, absolutely, I'm doing it. It was so much fun and such different experience from the show, but just still so unique and amazing.
And it's funny how our worlds come together, because I remember that. I remember how sad you were leaving, and I remember how sad I was that you were leaving.
It was so sad.
Who came to our rescue but our good friend Sloan Coleman, who Sloan was here. She's been here on Purple Tails, and Sloan's the one that took her out on the road and kept her career going with Barney. So it's funny how this small world.
It's crazy, isn't it? And you went on tour as well, and I've always thought, like, I'd love to exchange some tour stories sometime.
I would too.
And so you have come to the right place, Hayden.
No, that'll be after. We'll have to do that some other time.
No. Before we get to the tour stories, we got to go back to the beginning, Hayden. So it was sad when you left, but wait a minute, it had to be happy when you became a part of Barney. Tell me, and Kerry, and all of our fans, what were you doing before Barney? I mean, did you always want to be an actress? Did you know about Barney when you auditioned? Go.
I did both. So I was a huge fan of Barney growing up, and I would watch these kids, and it was so weird because I never told anyone this as a kid, but I would sit there and watch the show, and I would be like, I'm going to be on that show. Like that, I will be one of those kids. I want to play with Barney. I want to do this. And then, I didn't even tell my parents or anything. And then my my agent at the time got me the audition. And I was like, well, what the heck? This is my shot. Like, this is my opportunity. And then I auditioned, but it was crazy because there was like zero hesitation in my mind that I wouldn't be on the show. And it's just, it was such a cool thing. It was just, really awesome when I actually did get the part. I was just overjoyed, of course, and just the whole experience was amazing.
So how old were you? Let's just get that. Yeah, how old were you?
So I was on 2001 and 2002, I believe, and I think I started when I was 8 or 9. So maybe 8.
Okay.
I started out when I was 8. Yeah.
Well, what I want to talk about is that process was a really big deal. This was the relaunch of Barney and Friends. They had stopped production for a year or two and come back. And so they did a massive casting call for kids. So the kids that made it really went through a lot because there was a lot of children that auditioned to get on that new series. So obviously that passion, that desire to be on that show pushed you through.
I mean, yeah, it did. And it was crazy. It was a huge casting call. It wasn't just like an audition where, it's open up to only actors. This was opened up to kids who didn't even know they wanted to act or, so like you had said before, some of the kids had experience and some of them didn't have any previous experience in film and television. So it was a massive casting call. And, just the whole experience was really, really awesome. I remember going into the audition room and we had to learn the dance. I think Miss Penny was the tail end of, or I caught Miss Penny at the tail end of her time with the show.
Yes.
Because when I was there was a choreographer named Miss Shelley.
Yes.
But I did get to meet Miss Penny.
She's been on the show, Shelley Aubrey.
Mm-hmm. She has
been on Purple Tails.
You need to listen to that one. Watch that one. Yes.
I do. I need to catch up. I mean, I've seen Miss Curlbutts now, and I've seen Mr. Fred, which were both amazing. I watched his real quick today, so that was awesome.
So you were on seasons, now was that season 7 and 8, I think, according to your,
8.
Okay.
Yeah, and then funny because I was Googling a bunch of stuff last night just to like jog my memory. And I guess I was on 7 and I did like a comeback episode and I came back for season 11, which I feel like a horrible person, but I did not remember that. And so then I was like Googling it and I'm like, oh my God, that's right. And I think I have a picture actually on my phone. Let me see if I can pull it up. Where's my phone?
What does it feel like to see her, Kerry, right now? What is it kind of like when you see Hayden as a grown-up?
It's wonderful. There's a lot of memories that come back from, she was such a great kid. She was one of those kids that you could depend on. which was so
Aw,
important.
thank you so
You know,
much.
you knew she was always going to be there. She was going to know her lines. She was going to know her dance steps. And it was important because otherwise there's lots of takes and all of
Almost all
that.
the time, know my lines.
Yeah, I mean, and she could go with it, right? Because we didn't improvise, right? We decided to do a high five or something. She's ready there for it. She's paying attention. What I think would be so much fun here, we've talked, Nancy, each week about Barney Camp. Well, this is someone that went through Barney Camp.
Oh yeah,
What
they
was
did
it
call
like?
it Barney Camp.
Yeah, what was that like
is
for
so
you?
funny. It was so fun. Just the fact that I think they called it Barney Camp. You just felt like you were a part of something so special, you know? And it was so cool meeting all these kids and just like learning all of the dances. And even, I guess in my mind, even if at the end of the day, if worse came to worse and I didn't make it, it was just such a cool experience to be a part of. And it was so nice to just be able to feel like, oh, wow, this is what it feels like to, you know, be involved with this amazing show. So
Did you find something on your phone? Did you find a picture or
I
something?
did. Yes,
okay.
I did. Here, let me pull it up. Okay, so this was my
Okay, this will
my
be.
comeback.
This is real technically.
Look at that.
Yeah, so technically advanced.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
look
that
at your.
was me a little older, and I don't know what I don't even want to talk. My hair was out of control.
I was going to
don't wanna
ask you,
talk
was
about
that your hair? That was
It
your
was,
hair.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yes, it was.
I didn't realize I was playing the accordion either until just a little bit ago. So we have these great fans that show us all this stuff
Oh, yeah.
on the internet. It's wonderful.
Barney
for
really
that.
stretches you to your limits. You know?
Absolutely.
So, did you have a favorite episode? Well, before we talk about the tour, when you were doing the shows, was there a favorite episode, Hayden?
Oh yes. So one that really stands out in my mind, and it's very fitting that Kerry likes the color purple so much. It was the purple episode. Wherever, and I don't remember. I think
Perfectly
it was
Purple.
literally called like, yeah, or something like that, or a perfectly purple day, or something.
Yeah, because there was a
And,
perfectly purple song.
Yes, which I don't remember. But
Do you remember
I
it,
don't
Kerry?
remember
I
it.
just
Okay.
remember that part.
Perfectly
Yeah.
perfect. Okay.
Put you on the spot.
Purple. Oh wow.
Perfectly purple.
But yeah, it was so cool. I think I may have included a picture. It was just like I remember the.
There
yeah,
it is. We've got it up.
There's the purple party. there.
Everyone's in purple.
It was so cool. I remember the episodes that really stood out to me were the ones where the set was a little bit different. So it was always cool as a kid. Like, I mean, the sets were amazing just in general and just had so much detail. But then walking into a new set where it's all decorated and it's all fun and everything's purple, like it was, I mean, those are the episodes that really stood out in my mind the most.
Do you remember who those kids were in that picture with you and with all that purple?
Can I see it one more time?
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at it again. So.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So we'll go from Barney to the end. So
Okay.
Selena Gomez,
Uh-huh.
and then this was Zachary, and I'm trying to remember his last name, but he was the sweetest kid. And then this was Claire, and I don't remember her last name either, but she was the best. And then that's me and my silly little boa.
I love that.
Grayson, and then Grayson Vanover, who I actually still follow on Instagram, and I keep in touch with every once in a while.
And Grayson is just awesome. That kid had so much
he-
energy.
He
He was amazing.
He had so much energy, and he came in. He and I actually did a lot of episodes together. I think, like you would kind of work with the same people. You would tend to kind of be paired with the same people, and he was one of the ones that I would always be paired with. And I mean, he had the energy of like 10 children. It was it
he
was
did.
amazing.
He absolutely did.
Yeah.
And that's what they would do. They would pair them up. So when they saw kids that worked well together, they would pair them up because then it would make the episode easier.
And I also worked a lot with oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, talking about that set, Fred talked about the amazing art department. Boy, they were. Because we would go to rehearsal day
incredible.
and see this. We have no idea, it's perfectly purple, and we've read the script, and we walk in, and the set's like this, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be fun.
So much fun. And then there was another episode that was really fun. It was the bicycle one, the bike parade or something. And I mean, that was really a good time too. I think one of the I don't think it was Barney, but one of the dinosaurs rode a bike at one point, which was that's really impressive.
Which
and
I would
ambitious.
guess would have been, well, it could have been Baby Bop.
Maybe
had
BJ.
Baby Bop had a
maybe
tricycle. Do you remember that? She had a
That's
tricycle.
true.
So it
That's
could have been
true.
that, or it could have been BJ.
Yeah.
Those guys had
Maybe they
skills.
both rode. They did.
So then you had the bad news that you were off the show, or they weren't doing it anymore before you went on tour? I mean, what happened there?
So I don't know if this is true, but rumor has it that like once you're taller than Baby Bop or BJ or one of the two, you kind of get the boot. So I don't know if that's what happened, but I mean, it did come to an end, unfortunately. But then I was offered the part on the tour, and that, I mean, I just like I said, zero hesitation. I just said yes.
Well, first of all, yeah, you're pretty much right on that. That is pretty much
tall?
what happens. Yeah,
Is that
too
what
tall.
it is?
Yeah, they
Okay.
don't because Barney's obviously the biggest in the room, and they wanted a size that kids could relate to. Barney's already pushing it, and so they wanted everyone. That's why Baby Bop was shorter and BJ was shorter, and so they wanted the kids and everyone to be at a height that the kids could relate to. The cool thing about her
that's
going
true.
on,
You can't have like a Sasquatch.
That's right. Nope. Wouldn't work.
No. But the cool thing about what happened with her and what they were doing was never had one of the kids gone from the TV show to the road. And what it allowed is for the audience, now they knew her.
See, did you know that you were the first only kid that got to do that?
I did actually, yeah, and that was really, really cool. And it was cool to kind of hear the response out on tour too, because you could tell the people who really, I mean, most of them were Barney fans anyway and followed the show, but you could definitely tell that they were like, oh, that's Sarah.
Yeah,
So
they
it
already
was
knew
really,
her,
really
which
cool.
was so cool because beforehand
Yeah.
it would just be kids they'd never met before. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I've seen her on TV, there's Sarah. So it was very cool.
So you're
Yeah,
what, like
they-
10 years old, 11, and you're leaving your house and you're going on tour. So your mom went with you, or how did that work?
No, so actually, there were 4 kids, and I was the only one that didn't have like a relative or my parents with me. I had like a babysitter that I used to have when I was younger go with me, and she was young and she wanted to travel, so it kind of worked out perfectly. But yeah, I mean, it was 5 months, and it was like away from my parents, so it was kind of crazy, but it was, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was so much fun. And it was crazy too, because I mean, both of the experiences on the show and then on tour were so unique and so different, you know, and they were so special in their own way. So it was really, really cool. Both of them were great experiences.
Well, and that would have been with Miss Penny, right? You would have
That-
been on the tour. Didn't she teach you the dance? Wasn't it
No,
Miss
I
Penny?
don't think it was Miss Penny, actually. I'm trying
Really?
to remember. Yeah, this is embarrassing. I
Well-
knew there was going to be like something that I didn't remember.
No,
Don't worry,
no.
I embarrass
That's
myself each week, so don't worry about that. And we'll do several more times in this episode, so we're good there. This was the Colorful World Tour. Is that correct?
The Colorful World Tour. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it was really amazing.
So
And
where
you know
did
what's funny is when I first, I was going to say real quick, when I first went on tour, I mean, you weren't in the suit anymore.
Right.
There was a great guy named Corby, and he was amazing. And Sarah, they switched out Barney's. But they weren't you. And then, you know, the kids weren't my friends. And
Right.
everyone was kind of different. And it was still so amazing. But when I first got there, I was like, this isn't right. I was like, this is not how it's supposed to be, you know? So it was still a great experience. But I was just so used to the show, and nothing can top the show, you know?
Well, I was still doing the TV show, so that's why I was not on the road. I was telling someone earlier about this. When we did the reboot of Barney and Friends, they wanted to have all these new shows out, so we shot for a year straight. So we got very close because we worked a lot of shows, a lot of hours. So we were together. We were very close. So we had built these relationships because you're a big family, as we talk about. So I know it had to have been difficult. And of course, I was going through the same thing, Hayden. I had new kids, right? Because all of you grew up and you left,
That's
and so
true.
I had to
We
learn
went
as
through
well.
So many cycles of kids, yeah.
So it is the same thing. You have to learn the different mannerisms and and all of that aspect. So I was losing you too, and
Definitely.
it was tough.
So what do you remember about Kerry? I mean, you're a kid. You've got these grown-ups. I mean, that's a different world.
Yes. So I just remember him being so much fun. Like as a kid, you could not ask for somebody more fun. And I mean, everyone on set was amazing, but it was just like he was fun, so you could have a good time with him, but then like he knew when to be serious. And there were some kids who like, you know, right before they called action, they would be talking or something, and he would never like, he would always just have so much patience and just, you know, still kind of joke around, but be like, okay, like, you know, we need to like, let's focus or whatever. And it just like, I just have the best memories. And then I have the memory, I don't know if I can say this about like the logistics of your suit or the like mechanics of it.
Sure you can, honey.
But, like
Well, not all
okay.
of it.
Oh, well, so you had the AC in there, right?
See, now that is that.
Can we say
now
that?
well, you can say it, but here's the thing: it's not true. Everyone likes to talk about this AC. What this was fans that were in there. But when you deal with
Not
that much,
fans. We're talking about fans to cool you off. Not,
we're talking
not
about fans
pop-
to cool
not
you
your
off.
fans.
That's right. That were about this big,
different.
and all they did was kind of move the air around. But when people
The
would
hot
hear them,
air
they go,
around.
"Oh, you're fine. You've got AC." There's no AC in there. There's no way that
That's so
can
true.
compete
It
with
was not
the
AC.
heat of what was there. So I don't have a problem that you told it. I just want to make sure we know what
that's
it
right.
is.
Let's clarify. It was not an AC system.
Yeah, it was just to make me feel
But
good because I was feeling a little air on my face.
Yeah, it just like circulated the hot air around. But I think the cool thing was how you would turn them on. You know, like his hands are here and they're in the suit, so he would turn them on with his head, and every once in a while you'd hear this little click click, and we're like, oh, he's turning on his fan. And so then we got to a point where all the kids like we would hear it, and then we do this too. Like,
Did you know
was
that?
fun.
I saw it.
Oh my goodness. So I mean, did you ever get anything past Kerry at all as Barney?
not much got past him. No. Every once in a while we would go behind the suit and like jump over his tail and think that we were real slick. But
I was watching.
Other than that, not a
I
lot.
kept my eyes on those
no,
kids.
he probably knew.
I think he did have eyes in the back of his suit, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my! But that was a cute. We just showed a picture, just a few minutes ago. I guess there we go. Here we go again. A very
love that.
look at how cute everybody is. And well, first of all, you have not changed, Hayden, and I don't think Kerry's
Aw,
changed.
thanks.
And you can see
I
I've got a purple hat on.
Yeah,
I told you it was purple all the time.
That's
and then,
right.
And then there's
Are
my
you an LSU fan too?
my sister went there, so I am an
Oh,
LSU
okay.
for her.
Yeah, you do have a lot of purple.
I do, and I want to talk. The other
crazy.
the other gentleman in there was Dean Went, my really good friend.
I loved Dean.
who
Yeah.
did the voice, and he's an amazing guy. He had the same passion and love for Barney and the kids, and yeah, Dean was fun.
What did you learn out?
He was amazing too.
What did you learn out on the road, Hayden? I mean, you were with an audience. You're with all these people. You're acting. I mean, but what was really your world like then?
I think it was challenging at times because, on set, you could kind of like, we'd have a couple weeks in between each show. Whereas, I mean, you were just going on tour and you were with these people all the time. So if you got kind of frustrated or whatever, you would really just have to like rely on the people around you to, be your support system. And it was just, I mean, it was a great learning experience, and it was just an amazing experience.
Well, and the interesting thing, because I got to do it all those years as well. Mm-hmm. You don't stop. So if you fall down, you get up and you keep going. The show doesn't stop. They don't stop. Where if we fall on the
That's so
TV
true.
show, oh my God, there's 20 people that come to you and they go get you food and
Yes.
all that stuff. On the tour, you just get up and you keep going. If you miss a line, you keep
Yes.
going. If you forget something, you bump into something, you keep going.
The show must go on.
and
Yeah.
it does.
And it's tricky for the kids too, because we don't have a voice, like a live voice on tours, so everything's pre-recorded. So it's kind of hard. Sometimes you have to fit your line into this little dead space, and if you don't jump on it real quick, then you'll miss your line sometimes. So, but yeah, you just have to keep going.
I know Kerry has talked so much about the joy, the way it makes you feel in front of a live audience. Do you remember that feeling?
Yes.
And I'm surprised you didn't
Oh.
just stay on stage all the time after Barney.
I know. So, I mean, it's a rush. It really is. It's just like the adrenaline is like no other. And it's just, every once in a while, I mean, the lights are really bright, but every once in a while you'll get just a glimpse of like a child's face. And it just like, I might start crying. but yeah, I mean, it was really amazing. It was awesome.
So, what was your favorite? What was your favorite city?
I think nothing could top Radio City Music Hall in New York City.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. And that was our first, or I think Memphis was our first stop, and then that was like our second stop, and that was really just such an awesome experience because my whole family got to come out and stay with me, and we did the whole ice skating in Rockefeller Center, and my grandma got to come out. They put us up in the Riga Royale, so I mean, it was incredible. It was amazing.
Yeah, I got that experience too, and there really isn't. It's the hardest venue to perform at. That stage is really difficult to perform at in a big purple suit, but it's Radio City.
Yeah,
because it's such a hard stage. It is solid.
Kerry,
Matt's gonna kill me. Sorry.
I remember the like in the wings and backstage just being really tight too, if I remember that correctly. So I can only imagine in like a big bulky suit how that would be.
Of course, Kerry could walk the streets of New York or get out of, he's out of the suit and he can be himself. Well, whatever he did, yes. We won't talk about that. But you were Hayden. So what was it like when you went out? I mean, did people recognize you from the show and from the tour?
Not so much on the street, really. I mean, every once in a while, somebody would come up to me. But it was more so once we were finished with the live performance, and we'd like come out the back door, and there would be some people like waiting, and that was really cool because that was like a meet and greet, and that was really neat. So
it's been fun because we've had a couple of these people on here. I'm curious your experience. So what was it like? Do you remember working with Fred Holmes? With Fred?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Oh, Mr. Fred was the best. Yeah, he just had, he brought just like I don't want to say a comic relief, but he just brought such a good energy on set, and I just remember him being such a jokester, And I remember just on the podcast that I just listened to, where they said that he said Luigi was like behind the scene or something, and then he would come out and break our leg if we messed up. That was the kind of humor that he had, and it was just so good to just keep that morale and our spirits up. And I just think it was great energy for the kids,
So what did you do once the tour was over? I mean, because you were still in high school, junior high at that point?
Yeah, I think I was going into junior high. You know what is crazy? Actually, after I got off tour, I was it was 5 months away from my family and, my friends. And I came back home and I actually told my parents, I was like, I think I just want to go back to school. I just want to kind of play sports and kind of be normal. And without hesitation, of course, they were just like, absolutely, of course, whatever you want. So for a while, I took a break, and I think that might have been why I didn't really stay with theater. And then I kind of, after a while, when you're a performer, you just have an itch to perform. And so I got back into it, but I kind of went more of the film and television route.
So what did you take from Barney that you use as an actor today?
I think just being a series regular on a show, like, the experience is unparalleled, and it's just, it gives you so much discipline. You have to learn your lines each week, and you have to, show up on time, and even if you have to be ready to go and put on a smile and put your best foot forward. So it so much. It was just amazing.
I get asked this a lot, and so I want to ask you, because you went through it also. So what was it like working with Selena and Demi?
Selena and Demi they were two of my really good friends. And
look at this picture of the three of you.
I love this picture. So actually, it's funny because we all have kind of lost touch a little bit, a lot of it actually. But Demi reached out to me the other day, and she was on Instagram, and she was like, Hayden, I was just thinking about you. I just, wanted to see what you were up to. And so I had this picture on hand, and I was like, do you remember? And she was like, oh my God, I would be the one like going like this, She was a riot. She was just the funniest person. And then Selena was just always so sweet and just had such a fun spirit. on set. And just like, it's funny because she and I actually never really I think we only did one episode together because for whatever reason, we were never really paired up. So we would have to catch each other when she was wrapping one episode or I was wrapping an episode, and then we'd catch each other like in the classroom. But it's crazy because I mean, the three of us got really, really close. So
was that the Perfectly Purple?
People.
That you were with Selena?
I think yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
Because that picture,
was
sure.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God! And were those cucumbers on your eyes? Those were the big.
Yeah.
Those are the
were-
biggest
and then you
things.
Those were really. I think I just had a really small little alien head. But and then
I do not remember that.
and then they have, if you see, they have like corn on their teeth, which
Corn.
I think is
Yes,
hysterical.
you can see
Yeah.
that. That's so cute.
Playing with our food was not was a thing at Barney.
Well, it's what I loved is they let you be kids. They let
Yes,
you be kids. Obviously, we had to have discipline at times, but they let you be
Right.
kids, and everyone loved
Yes.
the kids. Everyone, we understood they were kids.
So now you go out
And
on
I think everyone was so. Oh
No, go.
real quick,
It's
everyone
okay.
Was
No,
just
we're-
so good about supporting us as kids, and I think that it literally never felt like work. And I think that's a testament to the adults on set, is because they would, just like you're saying, they would let us be kids, and we just had the best time. I love this picture, and Miss Hurlbutt, like that classroom was. I have some of the best memories in that classroom. It was amazing.
that she made it sound like that is where you want to go to school, was in her classroom.
It was the coolest school you could have ever been to. It was so awesome.
What was it like?
She
Oh,
had
sorry.
it all decked out too. It was like colorful, and there were all types of props. Every once in a while she'd be like, "Okay, let's take a break. We're doing a photo shoot." And so we'd all get out our little props and our mustaches or whatever they were, and like umbrellas and things. And yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
What was it like going from hers back to regular school?
My teachers were great because they really supported me. They would get my work, gather my work ahead of time for me to do while I was on set and everything. So I really can't. I loved my teachers, but it was a hard transition to say the least.
The other
It was
kids,
just
maybe?
going back to regular school.
Were the other kids, how did they treat you?
They thought it was really cool. They were like, "Oh yeah, she was like she was on Barney," and everyone was always really supportive about it and thought it was really cool.
So
It definitely followed me through high school, though. It was like, oh, that's and
the
then
Barney.
I think I got and I think in the yearbook I won like most likely to become famous, and everyone's like, Barney. I'm like, okay.
She already is.
That's, but so in that same vein, when you go on auditions now, and you have that probably, maybe you have it on your reel. I don't know if you have a little Barney scene,
I
but
don't, but I should. Why not? I should.
why not? Absolutely. I'm just wondering, what do they say about when they find out? Yeah, she was a Barney actress.
Some people, like some casting directors, especially ones who have like worked with Selena and Demi before, they'll ask and they'll be like, "Oh, is this, did you work with Selena or Demi?" Or there are some casting directors who like have moved from Dallas to LA, and they'll be like, "Oh, I knew so and so on the show or whatever." So it is kind of like it's a cool thing to be a part of, because people do know it.
I actually ran into a guy the other day that asked about you. I think his daughter
really?
went to school. Yeah, Buddy Whittingham. He's a guitar player, but I think his daughter knew you from school, and your name came up just the other day.
Oh, okay. Oh no.
They
way,
hear
that's
about
so
Barney, and they're like,
cool.
"Would you know?" It was very funny because they were naming people off. And I'm like,
That's
"Yeah, I
so
actually just talked to that person and this person and that person."
And you do have
That
a
is so
memorable.
cool.
You have a very memorable name. I mean, Hayden Tweedie.
yeah.
That not everybody. You're not going to forget that. No, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think it's great. So, do you some of the lessons you learned, are those things that, because you were also growing up on the set, did you learn some life lessons?
Oh, definitely. I think just responsibility was huge. Like I said, just, learning your lines. And there would be nights where I would, I would have to get to bed early, but I would stay up a little later, like making sure that I had all the lines down, because there were times when I didn't have my lines down, and that's embarrassing. And then I would have like nightmares as a kid, like showing up on set and not knowing my lines at all, and everyone's like yelling at me. And so I just wanted to make sure that never happened. So I would say, yeah, a big one was like responsibility. And I mean, it was a job, but so you did have to be responsible. But like I said, it never felt like a job.
No. It didn't feel like a job. No.
Yeah.
Too much fun. Too much fun.
I know. And then I have another memory of like I think a lot of it would be Miss Shelley, where she would say, okay, you would really have to watch when Kerry turns, because that tail will like take you out. And you know, we're tiny little kids, so it really could take you out, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a lot of power there.
Do you remember any of the songs? I mean, that you had to. Do you remember any of the songs and that kind of play in your head?
I do. One of my favorites was the airplane song. I don't know if you remember that one,
Oh,
Kerry,
of course, I did it 1,000.
We are flying in an airplane, looking out the window, watching the clouds go by. That one. Yes. There it
So
is.
that was the hand. That was the motion. It was with the hand.
Absolutely.
Do you still sing? Are you still singing at all?
I do a little bit. I want to get back into it a little more, but my main focus has been like acting and film and television. So.
Well, I have to ask you, since you've been doing, you said you did some horror movies or horror TV. Do you have a good scream?
I have a good, I haven't actually screamed, which is kind of ironic, but I've had my throat slit one time. So I have a good, dying face, I guess.
That's great.
She did not learn that from Barney and Friends.
No, I didn't. No, I learned love and happiness, and then I learned how to get my throat slit.
Oh my!
When she went to LA, when she left
That's
Dallas,
right. That has nothing to do.
nothing like that happened.
Unless it was Luigi. Luigi just snuck in there,
we sent
baby.
Luigi to LA.
And you did a Law and
Luigi is
Order,
out here haunting.
a Law and Order episode too, right? That had to be fun.
That was so much fun. Yeah, they filmed that in New York. So I got to film that in New York. And yeah, that was a great experience working with Mariska Hargitay. And I mean, and that show's been running for years. So it's always cool to be a part of a show that just, you know, has like a cult following like Barney and just, has been running for so long.
It's like I can hear. We always play that Barney song, that dun dun dun. I can hear the Law and Order
Yes.
opening too. Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
amazing what music can do to our memories.
It's incredible. Yeah. And like the beginning of this podcast, yeah, like you're saying, I mean, that was so nostalgic. It was like, oh my gosh, I love it. And then I also remember that there were so many, like you would walk on set and this, I don't know if you remember this, Kerry, but like the smell of set was so distinct to me. And so there will be times where I don't know what it is, if it's like the wood they use to like build a set, or I don't know, but I'll get like a whiff of it at random places and I'll be like, oh my God, Barney. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's kind of.
I was dealing with a smell of sweat, and it was a completely different smell that you're lucky you didn't have to.
Yeah, I'm
deal
thinking
with.
you had a different. You
It was
had
a completely different thing going on
in that suit
Yes.
with what was not really a fan, right? Okay,
Well,
so
yeah.
you can imagine.
Yeah, so if it wasn't really a fan, there was really a lot of sweat.
Yeah, I remember there were times where we would want to, like he would be out of the suit and like his, you know, I guess it was an underarm at the time. Underarm at the time. But yeah, the silks.
They'll appreciate that though. But yeah, the winter silks.
Yeah, and we, you know, the kids would like run up and like want to give him a hug, and he'd be like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Like, are you like, okay, come here, but I'm sweaty, you know."
What did you think of Kerry? What did you think about him?
So this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but I had a huge crush. It's so funny too, because like the main question.
Don't look at me, look at her, Kerry.
But it's so funny because the main question I always get is when I'm like, everyone's like, "Oh, you're on Barney. What was the guy in the suit like?" And my first response is like, "What suit?" I'm like, "Come on, he's real." Like, you know. But
Very
then
good.
when I come around, But then when I come around, I'm like, actually, I had the biggest crush on him. So, yeah.
And I understand that
I know.
you
And when
weren't
I
the
told
only
Nancy
one.
that,
I know. Yep.
no, I wasn't there. I mean, there are a lot of us girls. I won't call anyone out, but
No.
yeah, I think we all had a crush. It was so funny because when I told Nancy this yesterday, she was like, I like making Kerry blush. So
Yes, she does.
Oh, now see, darn it. Now you weren't, oh my God, now you've sold me out too.
You
Oh
didn't
my
have
gosh.
to tell me that, Hayden. I already knew. I'm fully aware of what was going on.
But I can understand that.
I still pay attention.
But I can understand that. I mean, here you had someone who, you know, who was a grown up, but he was still a young man, and you know, hey, I think it's
And is still a young man.
oh, that's right. And he's still, and we all still have a crush on Kerry, right?
So sweet. Thank you, ladies.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you
I
go.
just remember being like, he's so handsome, and you're just such a role model, like just somebody to really look up to, you know.
Well,
It's
thank you,
amazing.
Hayden. Thank you. Well, these kids meant the absolute world to me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we were doing something together.
Yeah.
You know, we were doing something together, and they understand the importance too. They understood how much kids love this. Were you ever part of any of the Make-A-Wishes? Did you ever get to
I don't
see
think I
any
was.
of that?
I didn't get to experience that. No.
I think a lot of times they took the kids off, and it was usually just the dinosaurs for that thing, and Barney a lot of times. But I think they understood, and that's what's so great that she got to experience the tour, because you really get to see it. You get to see how much the kids love Barney and love the
What an
kids and the other
impact.
dinos and everything. Absolutely. I mean, have you
Yeah,
ever seen
definitely.
anything? Have you ever felt anything like performing "I Love You" in front of a live audience and seeing the reaction of those kids?
Not at all. And just hearing, you know, the echo back from them singing, it was just, it was incredible. It was, it's magical, you know, it's amazing.
It is magical.
There was
and-
one, it is.
And watching them usually kiss their parents or hug their parents, it's just
Yes.
amazing.
And even the parents singing, you know, the
Yes,
parents singing
yes.
along, and they're moved just as much as the kids, you know, so that was amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's also a song that sticks out in my mind. I don't know if I'm sure you performed this on the show.
There's not one that I haven't.
Oh yeah, probably, huh? This was like Just Imagine.
Yes.
Do you
What
remember?
song is that?
Yes.
What-
Yeah, just
So
imagine.
it's just imagine, just imagine, just imagine all the things that we could be. So it's just such a pretty melody, but that one on tour performing that was right up there with I Love You. Like there were, you know, lights, and I think at that point we were like under the sea, and so it was just like all these ships and these beautiful undersea creatures, and I mean that one was really awesome. That one was magical too.
And I do also want to say I know Corby and Sarah that you were out on the road with. Sarah,
I didn't know that.
I love Sarah. So you were
Sarah's the best.
you were in really good hands out on the road with those
they
two.
were they were incredible. Once I got over the fact that it like wasn't you in the suit, I was like, okay,
Oh.
they're great.
They are. They are.
They were super awesome.
If there were to be a Barney reboot of some kind, would you want to be involved?
Absolutely. I would be on a plane like tomorrow. I would be, as long as they don't like curl my hair like they did for the comeback scene. That'd be great.
Well, it was the times, a sign of the times, I do believe.
I think it
probably.
was. Maybe it was. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the same reaction everyone had. I mean,
I
it
know.
had that much effect
I know.
on our lives.
But you talked about imagination, so that's it. It's this whole world that you all created that was strictly from one's imagination.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we brought a purple dinosaur to life, which was very cool.
Which I guess has something to do with what you like to call, and we want to hear Hayden's take on this.
Yeah.
The Barney Magic.
On the Barney Magic. What was Barney Magic to you?
Oh, Barney Magic. I mean, it is a thing for sure. I mean, it was family for me. Like they're just everyone involved in the project. I don't know how it just really brought so many amazing people together, so many genuine people. And I think that's where a lot of the magic started, you know, was around the project. And then, I mean, just like being on tour, like performing those and just seeing kids' faces light up, and even just the reaction of when people find out that you were a part of the show. They're like, no way, like that's so cool, I loved that show, or my kids watched that show, or, you know, I think that's all part of it for sure.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I haven't seen her in forever. And I'm just
I
like,
know.
yeah.
I know. Well, there needs to be. We need to at least put together some kind of reunion. There are so many Barney people
love
out
a reunion.
in L.A. We've got them in New York. Here, tons still in the
There's
North Texas
tons
area.
in Texas.
So we're going to have to do
Yes.
that.
I
So
think that would be amazing. It could start at the podcast too, because I really love, I love that you guys are doing this. I can't think of a cooler podcast. And I think that you guys are really going to, bring a revival to the show, because there's so many awesome people involved and so many memories that just should not be forgotten.
Well, I feel so guilty because these are all my friends, so I'm getting to see my friends each week.
that's why he's doing it.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Barney. He just wants to see his
I just
friends.
want to see all of you again because I love you all so much, and it's just been unbelievable. I mean, when I sent Hayden a message, it didn't take a minute for her to get back and say, yes, I want to be on the show immediately, and I was just so excited.
I was already jealous when Miss Hurlbutt was like, I'm gonna be on the podcast. I'm like, wait a second. And then my invitation came after that. So that was amazing.
Well, we are going to continue celebrating the spirit of Barney with Purple Tails and all of these wonderful. Thank goodness you had. I guess, do you have a Rolodex, Kerry? Do they even have Rolodexes anymore?
I have a big file there of people. Yes.
So
absolutely. But next time you're in town, Hayden, we have to get together.
I would love.
We have to go to lunch.
I would love it.
And then we need to bring you by the studio. You need to come in. We need to see you in person.
Yes. So
I would love to do in person if you'll have me back. Yeah.
I think we can. I think we should. As a matter of fact, in fact, there's only one thing you have to do in order to be brought back, and that's to leave us with something really special, like another song or whatever you want to. Yeah.
And even if it isn't special, you're still coming back, so it's okay. There's no pressure whatsoever here.
Yes. Okay, wait, but I want like a sing-along. Can this be a sing-along?
Sure.
Okay.
We haven't had Nancy sing yet.
Well, okay.
Oh, Nancy!
I'll try. For you, Hayden, I'll do this. And Kerry, go ahead.
Yes.
Let's try it. Let's do it.
Okay.
You got to lead, Hayden.
I love you.
You love me.
We're a happy family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
Oh, wasn't there a video?
She went one way, I went the other.
We're harmonizing.
But we got to the same place.
This is the best. I love it.
Actually, that sounded so good. It was like you guys planned it that way or something.
Well, we didn't. That's the first time you got me to sing. So there you go.
Woo!
Hayden, and now we've got another song to just take us out. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys
Carrie,
so
you've got
much.
the
This
best
is so
friends.
amazing.
You've got great friends, great people, it's a great Purple podcast.
So good to see you, Hayden.
It's special to be on here, and I'm so happy that you guys are doing this and just bringing all the memories back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you haven't changed a bit, except for the hair.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.